Hello, this is Lyon with a Special Education Service Agency, and right now I'm just going to provide a demonstration on how paraprofessionals or teachers can complete a check-in, check-out, how I'm feeling scale using a computer or an iPad. A computer or iPad will work just fine with this. It doesn't matter, either one will work. The first thing that you want to realize is there's a video model here that's a YouTube. This is not any particular student. It's just a video example from a school system in the lower 48. What is specific to each student that has one of these is the classroom expectations by routine. And it's broken up typically by different routines such as transitions, lecture, guided practice, /seat work, small group, instruction, large/whole group, free time, or breaks. So what is done is we look at what the problem behavior is of a particular student and put specific expectations that are mutually exclusive with the problem behavior. So anyway, these can be used on an iPad just great or on a computer, but I think iPads or Android devices can work wonderfully because you can gesture and blow up a particular area. Like if you're doing guided practice, you can blow that up on an iPad or Android or a computer and really highlight what you want the student to focus on, depending on what the routine is and what the issue might be. So the first thing when completing this is you're going to put in the date. And one of the things that happens with check-in, check-out and how I'm feeling is there's some pre-teaching that has to be done, obviously, so the student knows what the expectations are right up here and how you're going to deliver feedback. And feedback is delivered at minimum at the beginning, a couple of points in the middle of the day, and at the end of the day. Students that I see as a specialist and others see as a specialist typically need feedback after each activity or period. And so the way we do this is we define what the expectations are and how they're scored. Okay, this is the scoring right here. And we also kind of model how we're going to give them feedback. And when we're doing this, we want to make start statements stating the expectations rather than telling them what not to do. And we're taking this from the standpoint that we're rooting for them. All right. So let's say a student, and this is check in, check out. This is the first part. Check in, check out. Let's say a student has a great arrival. You catch him as he's walking in and you say, "Hey, John, I really like the way you followed instructions during transitions. You were prepared to start. You followed adult directions, and I saw that you watched personal space. Great job." And so we show him that we're marking that, or we signal that he's getting a 3. Let's say he has a good morning meeting. The RTI section is great. We deliver the same kind of feedback. Let's say morning break. There were a little bit of problems. We would go up here when we're giving them the feedback. And again, this is individualized, so we know that the student might not always give supportive comments. He might make negative comments towards peers, has problems with personal space, doesn't clean up his area after break, and has problems following adult directions the first time. So what we would do is we would blow it up or make sure that we point his attention towards free time and breaks. And then we would say, look, here are the expectations. I really need to see you watch your personal space, and I noticed that you need to clean up your area when you're done, and also give supportive comments. You did respond to me right away, and I appreciate that. So I'm going to have to give you a 2. I can give you a 3 next time if you do all those things that I mentioned. Clean up quickly, watch your personal space with peers, and give other supportive comments. So you're kind of trying to shape behavior through the positive attention or attention towards positive behaviors, just depending on the situation. Let's say math, he did a lot better, responded to the feedback. Lunch. For this particular student, we're doing the calculations twice a day. So we split it up between the morning and afternoon block. Right here, there are 8 different activities or periods, and here are the numerical values that are assigned for each. So 3 times 7 is 21, plus 2, so that's 23. Had he gotten all 3s, he would have gotten a 24. Okay, the average for that number there is 95, almost 96%. So we'll just round it up always. So the criteria is, did the student earn 5 points because they made 80% or higher on the criteria? And so, yes, the student will receive points. That goes into his token system, whatever it is, whether it's points or actual tokens, chips, whatever. We're going to repeat the same process for the afternoon. So he'll have 2 opportunities to receive tokens based on expected behavior. Kids that we see sometimes need this kind of feedback and reinforcement, generalized reinforcers, tokens, points, whatever. And obviously that has to lead to something that they value, which when we think of rewards or reinforcers, what's a reinforcer to me is not necessarily a reinforcer to the student. So in general, we can do reinforcement surveys, but that's a static point in time. And people tend to have their preferences change based on if you're had a lot of candy, you're not going to be hungry. If you've had lots of opportunity for free time, that might not be the big reinforcer. So we need to have a variety of potential reinforcers that a student can earn based on their preferences at any given time. And of course, it has to be within the realm of doable for the school. But generally, you can have activity reinforcers, edibles, tangibles, and then always we're delivering this with specific positive praise. So anyway, let's say the student is doing fine, but in PE, they have a lot of difficulty. They, let's say, get in a maybe altercation with another kid. Physical education in the gym, as far as how it would and what it would fit under. we would put it under, we would want to make sure that personal space is included in this. So I think probably free time or breaks could be if it was just kind of open gym BE, but if the students were learning something, learning how to play basketball or something like that, then you might use the lecture listen when you're giving the feedback, because the problem behavior, let's say the student got up and started pushing someone as they were standing around listening to a lecture, we would want to hit this one right here. And the way we might deliver the news about the behavior and access to reinforcement would go something like this. So we're going to go down here, and it's PE, and we will have marked this on the iPad, Android device. It could be a sheet of paper too, and we're going to say, hey, Don, I was watching what was going on, and it seemed like you, to me, had some difficulty during the lecture part when you're learning how to play basketball. So what I need to see you do next time is focus on the speaker, watch your personal space, and you need to follow directions the first time from the PE teacher when they're giving you a redirection. For instance, watch your personal space. You had some trouble following through with that in a quick manner. We need to be quick when an adult tells us to do something. So I wish I could give you a 2 or 3, but you earned a 1 because you were below expectations. So the student knows that that is part of the feedback system. Let's say there's no opportunity because maybe they went to the office or maybe they left early right after that. You might mark no opportunity. In this case, now we have only 3 potential activities. So 1, 2, and 3. So we have 6 plus 1 is 7. And there are 9 potential points to be earned. So student got a 77 points or 777, so we're going to round it up to 78. And we're going to have to deliver some bad news, but we want to frame it in a way where the student takes responsibility. You might say, okay, Don, what we're shooting for is an 80% or higher to receive the 5 points. You earned 7 out of 9. I didn't count these against you because you didn't have the opportunity, but you got a score of a 78. So you're not going to be able to earn points for this time. So tomorrow, when you're in PE, I want you to think about what the expected behaviors are, whether it's you're learning a new kind of game, or if you're kind of on your own playing foursquare or basketball or kickball, whatever. That would be in your free time or breaks. So you need to know what the expectations are. I want to see you meet those because I really want to see you earn the points and get what you want. The next part is the how I'm feeling scale. And as you see right here, it's kind of operationally defined on what a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 being super calm, 2 okay, 3 starting to feel anxious or uneasy, and that's in red. You see start to use the calming strategies. We want to get these problem behaviors before they happen, so and before they escalate. So let's go back to the previous time, and this is different because the student is actually filling this out. All right, the student is rating themselves, and they're the final say on that. What we're trying to do is to get them to reflect on how they're feeling and what they could do differently. All right, so if the criteria is here that they need to mark in 80% of the time blocks and how they feel. We are trying to steer them towards, an appropriate assessment or appraisal of how they're feeling. We just don't want them to click anything. So that's going to be a balancing act that you, as the paraprofessional or teacher, that you're going to have to kind of manage. So the next, so let's say up here in the morning block, we know that we had problems during morning break. So let's say he felt super calm, and then we said, okay, now morning break, it seemed like you had some challenges. How were you feeling? Let's say they said upset, frustrated. You might do a follow-up. So did that happen just in morning break, or did you feel that way before? And there's a teaching opportunity if they started to kind of feel uneasy or anxious because of reading, and then they went into morning break and with a kind of negative attitude. It was a setting event for future problem behavior, increase the likelihood of problem behavior. So that's a teaching opportunity. So again, the student is the one that's filling these in. It's just a simple touch on the iPad. Math rotation, let's say they recovered and had a good rest of the day, and let's say they did 90% of the self-ratings. That's the criteria for them to receive points. They might not have a good day or a good period, but they're earning points if they reflect back and do a self-rating. That's the important part here that we're trying to teach. And also that you could have problems and start to feel a little down or upset, and that could be a setup for another activity like morning break. So we're trying to teach them that. This student, in the afternoon, as we recalled, he went home early and he had problems in PE. So let's say they marked, he felt okay there's a major transition. He was feeling okay, but then he got really frustrated in PE, and then there was no opportunity during this part right here, these last 2. Let's say for some reason they didn't want to complete the rest of these. Let's say they only completed half. Okay, if the student is not marking these, then at an 80% level, then they don't get points, the 5 points. This section right here is where a student can type in or dictate. On some iPads you can actually dictate. That'd be a nice way for them to start expressing their feelings. Down here are strategies for students to use. These are the calming strategies: stop, walk, and talk, to avoid further escalation or avoid problems in general. Stop what you're doing, walk away from the problem and towards an adult, or certainly away from the problem, and talk to an adult. You also can start with some kids bringing in the idea of self-talk. This is the progressive muscle relaxation and deep breathing exercise that we try to teach students. So it's just a reminder here. So anyway, that's how you do the check-in, check-out, and how I'm feeling scale. And the cool thing about this is it goes into SurveyMonkey when you click done. And it'll actually give you cumulative results. These are cumulative results. So they're not necessarily, it's just one way to look at it, but a lot of times we're going to break it into week by week, and we'll be able to graph out their progress as well. So this is just one way to look at it. And then once you click done, it'll take you back to the main screen to start over for a new time. So that's how you do this.